Hello everyone and welcome back to PAX and Recreation. And today we're in the booster box game because we're going to open a Scarlet and Violet Temporal Forces booster box. Now, I don't know how it is for you, but if I am used to opening other booster boxes, which is kind of the case for like other games and so on, the Pokemon booster boxes always catch me off guard or off balance because they are first vertical, while most trading card games have like the horizontal, TCG box thing. But then they are like so compact and so heavy. You pick these and it's so expensive, and you're like, oh well, I mean, how many cards are here, right? And it's like, well, actually, there are a lot of boosters here. I don't know if it says how many somewhere. Like, you know that this is the pro product for like people like me or just stores for them to sell individual boosters, because it doesn't have, oh there you go, 36. It doesn't have like the normal like icons with stuff for the other products that we normally open. So 36 boosters, which is the normal, but everything is very compressed here, and then you open it like that. This type of box I feel is better for stores and so on. I at the same time I feel is worse for us as collectors. Like if you sometimes need to store the cards in the box while you sort them because it's bulk and so on, this is not super easy because it's a vertical storage. Like I did this just for nothing because I'm going to throw it away afterwards, but or whatever. So 36 boosters, crazy booster box game. I'm going to put all these babies here. You can see them kind of, and we are going to move the camera a little bit, and then we're going to just start cracking. You can count them. It's 10 cards per booster, and a lot of codes for you and your friends. Now, Drillbur starts the match. Cutiefly, Rellor, Ponyta, everyone loves Ponyta, Shaymin, Fortress, which, like, I guess that let's talk about Pokemon, the animated series again. Oh, Shaymin, the same booster? Okay, well, this one is foil. Not bad. Like, ooh, let's go Koraidon. And it's the ancient variety, but it's like, well, it is Koraidon, so like, because it's an ancient Pokemon, so, you know what I mean? What is fun is that it's like, well, Korai and Mirai, like past and future, so it's not like the name is super creative, but it's unfair that the name for these ones is actually a Pokemon name, like a new Pokemon name, while some of the other Pokemon that are like present or future Pokemon have names like Metal Wings, Iron Claws, and stuff like that, which is like, very meh. But let's talk about the series for a second. So the real OGs, I love this art for Hunter, know that all Pokemon, well, all OGs and like all current, because it's a thing that is still a thing in the TCG, but in the animated series, like everyone knows that in the games they just sound like chirps and so on. Oh, let's go Miraidon. So we have Koraidon and Miraidon, two boosters in. The playmat is already fulfilled the prophecy, so let's go, right? This is what I'm talking about. Love the design of the cards. So basic energy and a code for you. Now, the chirps are for a reason. So the games were for the original Game Boy. Therefore, some Pokemon actually have the same cry, and a lot of people don't realize this. And the more technology has evolved, the more they tried. Well, Marilyn Psychic, like what the like? The more they have tried to like they diversify on the cries, but it has to be like consistent. I love Colossal, by the way, it's a great name. So, but in the anime series, they just say their names, which I don't know whose idea was that. I agree, it's kind of cute. Another Koraidon, so I guess it's not that special anymore. Ooh, but this is a special. Excadrill. Look at that, my boy chilling with the workers in the pause for lunch. Like, let's go. Like, one dude sleeping with their own. This one is just eating and chilling. This one is just like here looking at the infinite. And then is that a Pokemon in the background? It is, right? Like, but I can't identify it. I don't recognize it. But well, I love these cards. I always say it in every video, and you may hate me for it. Sorry, but I really love the full art cards more than any other type of Pokemon card, even if they are more expensive. I just love those cards. Magcargo, Basic Energy, and Coderino for you. The whoever decided in Japan that is like, yeah, they're going to repeat their own names, and mind you, the names in Japanese are different from the names in English, and the names in English are the same for Italy and Spain and Spanish-speaking countries, and Portuguese-speaking countries, but Germany and France were like, nah, we're doing our own thing, which makes everything very confusing. And at the same time, funny, because you have like variations on names and so on. See, like Iron Valiant and Screamtail. It's like, well, Victini, let's go. I remember when Victini was like this chase card. I always love when that happens with like legendary Pokemon, mythic Pokemon. Scentic Scorch, Roaring Moon. So 3 future and ancient Pokemon in the same booster. This is basically a primal version of Salamence. Looking at the colors, it's likely that. Basic Energy, code for you. So the Pokemon repeat their names, which is, cute. What is fun is not so much that they repeat their name, is that, well, they need to decide on a voice to give to the Pokemon, and the voices and the delivery, I guess, like, I never seen a comparison one-to-one, like I never took the time to do it. I'm sure that there is a comparison in YouTube somewhere, but I assume that, well, the Japanese go first, so they decide like the direction that the thing is going for, and then the Japanese decide the name, and then the name or like the delivery, and then I guess that the American team does their own version, and then for the rest of the world, funny enough, even if everyone like localizes their own version of Pokemon, Incineroar EX. Let's go. I love that people say EX because it's cooler, but technically in a lot of other countries, people just say X. So like Incineroar X, which, depending on your perspective, it may sound cooler or it's very stupid, but it's not bad, looking bad. Like the EX cards, again, some people love them because they're very dynamic and so on. They're not my cup of tea. Like, I won't say no to a EX card if you give it to me, but I just feel like, artistically, not my cup of tea, but still amazing. I prefer when they subvert your expectations and they do cool stuff like this, like stuff that I don't see in the game. Like, so Pokemon in 3D I already see in the games, even though maybe not with this amount of anti-aliasing or ant-aliasing or whatever you want to call it. Ooh, nice. Nope, not really nice. Confused by the card Sandy Shocks, which is really just old school Magneton. Reuniclus. And then a Mist Energy. Grobbin in foil, not bad. Boltund, nice art for Boltund in foil. Ooh, Feraligatr, let's go. One of the OGs. And a lot of people just say like, well, it's just a big crocodile or a big alligator. It's like, well, that's the beauty of it. Like, yeah, it doesn't have cannons like Blastoise, but it's, like Typhlosion and Meganium. I think that the weirdest of the three, technically, is Meganium, because the other two are just a big version of a recognized animal. So, nothing that crazy. But that's the beauty of like Gen 2 and Gen 1 to a degree, was like based on animals, nothing too crazy. Not criticizing the newer ones. I think that some of the newer Pokemon have like great designs actually, and great names even. And as I said multiple times, I like Pokemon variants, like Iron Threads as a variant of an existing Pokemon is interesting. I would prefer that it was like ancient name of the Pokemon instead of like Iron Threads. Again, I said this multiple times. I understand, like, for example, Roaring Moon. It's like, yeah, it's a Salamence. It's an old school Salamence. So it could be like ancient Salamence or something. Similar that you have like Galarian, like Galarian Meowth and stuff like that, like the regional versions. This is just like temporal version. Like the Relicanth is very cool. But they decided to go with that, which it's okay, I guess, but doesn't really. There's no consistency with Koraidon and Miraidon for once, and then there's this whole thing about how it doesn't, like, it just adds more Pokemon to the count, and it's just like, well, can anyone name them all? I'm pretty sure someone can. Like, I can name them all more or less in order up to the 5th gen. I think is somewhere around the 5th gen. I don't know the order anymore. Like, I recognize all the Pokemon, and I recognize all the Pokemon up to Gen 8, 100%. Gen 9, not so much, because I need to play more and need to have more exposition to it. Ooh, Farigiraf EX. Nice. See, like, I don't dislike it, and I sterilize. I don't dislike it, but you can't really see the Pokemon. You can only see the face, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you know what I mean? But again, cool. So, basic energy, code for you. I think, let me know what was the point for you that you stopped being a ultra reliable Pokemon nerd. To me, it was like 5th gen, and from 7, 8th onwards, I can't recognize 100% of them. Like, I can recognize them as in, oh, that's a Pokemon. I seen it in the games, but so I could tell apart, like, if you give me fake Pokemon or real Pokemon. So, like, this is a future Makuhita, which is great, or Hariyama. But if you tell me, like, oh, tell me the name of this Pokemon for some of the more recent Pokemon, I don't know them all by heart. You know what I mean? See how the brain is tricky. I put the future Hariyama in the fighting type, and it's like, nope, it's electric. Ooh, Drampa, nice. See, sometimes simplicity just hits. Never-ending story. Ooh. Ironically, the Pokemon is called Drampa, and it's like, nah, we're not going with Dragon type. Let's just keep it normal. So I know that there are other versions of the card that are like Dragon type. Like, don't add me. So with until Gen 5, I can tell you all the Pokemon in quick succession, I will say, and in order. From that point on, not so much. And I could do the cry for Pokemon up until like 3rd gen or something in the anime, because I think that's where I stopped like watching proactively, which, you know, it's no one's fault. It just got old and the series is kind of repetitive. Let's go Miraidon and Raging Bolt EX. So we have future and past, and Raging Bolt is basically a Raikou giraffe. Well, it looks like a giraffe, but I guess that the idea is that it's a dinosaur. It's like a... What's the name of this dinosaur? Well, I don't know. You know, I can't remember the name of the dinosaur. You know the dinosaurs? You know which ones? The Brontodons? Brontosaurus? No. Damn, I can't remember. But you know the ones that you look at them and you go like, welcome to Jurassic Park. That's the type of Pokemon that I'm thinking about. Looking pretty cool, I have to say. And I like the design. Again, I like the creativity. Even if some of them look a little bit like a DeviantArt version of an existing Pokemon, but hey, gotta try, right? If you don't try new designs, things just get stale. Gotta try new things. Gotta inject life into the world and the game. As long as they are consistent with the rules, I have no problem with that. So I just hope that they will be more consistent with their own rules, because sometimes it's like, why is this Pokemon named differently? And it's like, well, because goodbye. And that's it, right? Like there are no like real... This Tranquil card is beautiful, by the way. Carvana. Not that many water Pokemon so far, which it's okay. Sometimes you gotta give love to the other types. The Dunsparce, and a Psychic Energy, and a Code. Overall, I think, and I can pretty much, most of the Gen 1, Gen 2, and some Gen 3, I can do the cries from the anime, more or less. Like, don't ask me, maybe ask me, but like, these Electabuzz are this fire. Like, Electabuzz is one example. Like, someone look at Electabuzz in Japan. I don't know how they did the sound for Electabuzz. Plus, the name is not Electabuzz. It has a funny name, actually. I don't remember it, but And then someone from the US was like, okay. And Electabuzz does this thing like Electabuzz, and it's like, why? Like, why do you look at that thing that looks like a gremlin tiger cat thingy and go like, yeah, it sounds like a crazy, ooh, let's go, Scizor EX. So Scizor is another example of like crazy badassery, right? Because Scyther, I don't remember the cry of Scyther now that I think about it. I think it was just like Scythe, or something like that when Tracy had one or something. But the moment it evolved to Scizor, it just went like very badass, very sudden. So like Scizor, and it's like, yeah, bro, you go. Again, I am that guy that prefers Scyther to Scizor. I understand that both for functional reasons and combat reasons, being a steel version of the same Pokemon and gaining claws instead of having blades for hands is functionally a lot more useful. But I just prefer the design of Scyther. Call me a hater. I don't know. Also the color. I don't know. Scyther looks like more of a beast to me, and Scizor looks more like, you know, like Porygon 2 kind of thing. It's like a second version of something that you already know. But again, some people, I remember in Gen 1, in Gen 2, a lot of people hated like the iron coat Pokemon. Oh, this Totodile art is beautiful. What the hell? Let's go. Like, look at this. Look at my boy. Nah, I love this. See, this type of art that, you know, just make this the whole card. Like, I don't need the big bite thing. Just, I don't need to fight with it. Just give me the art. This thing is amazing. And I have the Relegator, so we're just missing Croconaw to have the full family here. Oh, let's go. Iron Crown EX. See, this is the type of EX that I kind of like. I'm kind of divided here. On one side, I like it that I can see the whole Pokemon. I don't dislike the outline. I think the outline is pretty cool. But depending on the Pokemon, it looks like a copy-pasted PNG a lot of times. This one kind of works because of the contrast and the lines and so on, but a lot of times it just looks like a copy-pasted PNG. So, yeah. Fire Energy and a code. I remember Onix like evolving to Steelix, and a lot of people being like, no, Steelix is not as cool. Although with Scyther, I will say that there is a lot of debate over which one is cooler, Scyther or Scizor. Let me know down below which one you prefer. But with Onix and Steelix, I will say that if you like Onix, by default, you technically should like Steelix more, because the design is not, like, it's different, yes, but it's not diametrally different that you go like, oh, it's not the same Pokemon. It's like, it's literally the same Pokemon, just with more edges now and covered in metal. So technically, if you like Onix, you should like Steelix, which is not necessarily the case between Scyther and Scizor, which also have a different aspect to them. Oh, let's go. Which also have a different aspect to them, which is, well, one is green, the other is red, whereas like Onix is gray and Steelix is gray, but it's like metallic gray, right? So metal color. So overall, you know, I don't think it's the same. Like, I don't think anyone despises the Steelix. Now in competitive, yeah, maybe there are some reasons to prefer one over the other, but in terms of design, I think it is what it is. I remember Gen 2 was crazy. You have the coating, and you know, people give a lot of hate to like regional versions and so on now, because I don't know, we get older, we start to go like, well, in my time, my Pokemon were better, which is funny that we're doing that with Pokemon, which I guess is the modern new age. Oh, Keldeo, let's go. Is the modern new age version of in my time, kids like you know, the things that our parents and their parents used to say. So for us, it's like Pokemon and Dragon Ball and stuff like that. Like, my Dragon Ball was cooler. There was only one hair color, not like 7. And it's like, well, yes, more or less. Broly was still green, technically. So it's, you know. And Broly wasn't canon. Now it's canon. But it all comes down to what you consider canon, I guess. So for Pokemon, I think it's kind of the same. I think it goes to, like, Gen 2 was actually a lot of, it was very tame on the Pokemon. Like, again, you see Totodile, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and they are all very okay. Like, even their final evolutions are kind of okay. A lot of the Pokemon are okay, and I don't mean okay in a bad sense. Like, look at Hood, for example. I spent my whole childhood thinking that Hood only had one leg, and turns out that they always illustrate him with one leg, but apparently he has the other one. It's just, above, because this is how he stands. Which is the same with Torchic, by the way. Ooh, let's go, Swazbuck. And they did the thing with the seasons. Well, not really the seasons, but like the colors of the leaves. Well, this card is beautiful as hell. Look at this. Like, I am not that crazy about the Pokemon itself, but the Pokemon plus the background, like the whole thing, is beautiful. Like, this is Bambi, 100%. Or Bambi's dad, but this is more like Bambi at the end of the movie. Like, crazy. Super powered horns for 110, and changing seasons. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a stadium card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Okay, not bad. Actually, very nice looking card. It's beautiful. Look at that thing. Maybe the better looking card of all of them, and we pulled some crazy things. Whimsicott, which goes here, sadly covers the card right away, and a code for you. Like, Gen 2, I remember that, it has a lot of simple stuff to it, which, sometimes the complexity is in the simplicity. The beauty of things is in making something profound or with a lot of depth to it without making it complex for people to understand or to use. And I remember seeing, like, a lot of Pokemon in that generation are really simple, in my opinion. And it was very transformative, which a lot of people didn't like at the time, or maybe they liked because it added, evolutions for Scyther and Onix by adding an additional type, 2 more evolutions for Eevee, the happiness system, and the day and night, and all that, which just makes more and more headaches for them in the future, because then how do you evolve? Oh, Iron Thorns, let's go. Like, how do you evolve the same Pokemon if you can't recreate the same conditions? And the reason, and the way you do it depends on the game, and etc. So, it introduced a lot of things. To me, the most important things about Gen 2 were a lot of those transformations. Like, oh, now we have baby Pokemon. And it's like, oh, okay, so we have baby Pokemon. For some Pokemon that didn't have evolutions, we have evolutions. And then Gen 3 was like to the side and very, I would say, aggressive in its design. Everything looks cool and edgy. I think it's the gen that looks the most like Digimon. And it kind of changed the design pattern of Pokemon. And it's not my opinion, it's a fact. Like, it's said by the designers themselves. I like Gen 3, don't get me wrong. I love it even, so I'm not saying like, oh, Gen 3 was bad, because like Gen 4 was the one that was like, oh, we're going to add a bunch of Pokemon, but we're going to add like last evolutions to a lot of Pokemon that never had evolutions, like Electabuzz and Scovillain. Let's go. Like, see, this one works as an EX just with the heads, because, well, that's kind of most of the Pokemon anyway. It works, but again. And the funny thing is that they actually, like, it's not like they only draw these, they draw the whole Pokemon. You can see I don't know if you can see it, but you can actually kind of see the body of the Pokemon. It's just covered by the text box, which I appreciate, because that way you can read. I mean, the card is to play with, technically, even though no one plays the game, apparently. But compared to, like, the full art cards, that are my favorite ones, the text is very difficult to read there because there is no text box, right? So I think that they could do that with the EX ones, like they did with the one that we saw just now. But I guess it will remove the special feeling from the others. So this is a game of like everything. If everything feels special, nothing is special, right? So they need to balance it out. I think they do. So the cards are different styles for different tastes and different people. Oh, ooh, look at this Noctowl art. Jeez. Look at my boy. Like, Noctowl is the rightful heir of Pidgeot, and I will fight anyone, even though it's just a 2 evolution, 2 Pokemon instead of 3, or 3 stage instead of evolution. But always loved it. We're halfway there, by the way. I always loved it. With Gen 2, I always had this feeling of adventure because, well, you had to play 24/7. Well, not really, but you get the point. Like, night was night in the game. Day was day in the game. You had a cell phone. People will call you in the game. You can fight again with certain trainers. Like, it felt alive. And Then Gen 3 stopped with that, which is a choice. It wouldn't be my choice, but it is a choice. And let's go. Iron Crown EX. Look at that bad boy right there. From the future. See, the other Iron Crown EX was more to my taste, but it was more simplistic. This one, well, this is an actual 3D model, etc., etc. It's cool, but yeah, the usual suspects. Psychic Energy, Cold for You. I remember all that with like with a sweet taste to my mouth. Like, oh man, those mechanics, those days, those were the days. Not like today with the freaking kids and their Pokemon Go. But you know, the transformative stuff. That's why I actually see with a different eyes whenever they announce like regional versions of existing Pokemon, because I love to see those takes, or when they, you know, they do this past and future thing. I really like it. I think it gives more depth to the Latias, let's go, to the world of Pokemon, and gives more credibility to like, oh, these creatures have been here for a long time and they are scattered around the world, and it gives some mysticism to it, right? See, like Electivire was the evolution for Electabuzz introduced in Gen 4, and like Electabuzz is this weird Pokemon that is like, okay, in Gen 1 it was popular. I wouldn't say it was like, you know, ultra beloved, but it was popular. And however, it only had it wasn't like the most competitive Pokemon. People loved it. That and Magmar, they became this weird duo for people. So in Gen 2, they gave them babies, baby Pokemon, which in the card game, it was an actual mechanic. And nowadays, it's just that they are another stage of the Pokemon, which they still were with baby Pokemon. But since baby Pokemon kind of broke the rule, because there were pre-evolutions of existing Pokemon, which was something that wasn't assumed that it will happen. Nowadays, they can just do that with anything. But back in the day, it was like, I guess this is a different archetype of Pokemon. Nowadays, it's not so much. And then in Gen 4, they added like this card is nice, but the other is art, man. Come on. Ooh, Miraidon again. Let's go. And when in Gen 4, they added a bunch of evolutions for Magmar, Electabuzz, and so on. I love how those Pokemon get that treatment, like together for some cosmic reason. I always think of them as like Bebop and Rocksteady, like for some weird reason in my head. Like they're not evil Pokemon or anything, but like you never see a protagonist with one of them because they are like too big. There's this thing about the protagonist having like human-like Pokemon or Pokemon that are too big. They try to don't give that to the protagonists or their partners. Sometimes their partners can have one, but normally they use it for like jobs. The same way that Ash used Pidgeot just to fly things here and there, or just to carry Pikachu so that Pikachu could just kill everyone from the sky. So I guess it comes down to like, is it worth it? If people like it, you know, yada yada. Again, regional versions and so on, I am in for them. I think that one of the things that they don't do so much now, and I think because maybe people don't like it or because it breaks their systems, is adding pre-evolutions or evolutions to Pokemon that don't have them. Yes, like literally they added an evolution for Primeape in the form of Annihilate, and it's a very conditional evolution. I like conditional evolutions. I am, in terms of a video game player, I am afraid of... Why am I putting this here? Like, this is my DNR, this crazy, by the way. Like, in terms of as a video game player, I am afraid of conditional evolutions because, like, oh, this Pokemon evolves... Like, if the evolution is within normal gameplay, like, oh, you need to repeat this attack, like Annihilate, right? You need to repeat this attack X times, and then you need to go up a level, and then the Pokemon will evolve or something like that. I don't remember how it was, but you can do that in any Pokemon game, but when the evolution depends on stuff that is only on that game, I remember in Gen 4, I think it was the evolutions, if I'm not faulty in my memory, that could only evolve touching a rock that was a rock in the world, I think, maybe, if I'm not wrong, or it was another Pokemon. I remember that there are two Pokemon in Gen 4 that you can only evolve with a rock or something that is like physically in the Pokemon world. So you have to go there and touch it. So you can't just evolve somewhere else. So they had to invent a different thing, and as long as they guarantee backwards compatibility or forwards compatibility in this case, I'm okay with it. And I like unique mechanics, but then it makes the whole thing, like, for example, Pokemon that evolve while trading. Great idea, by the way. Complicated. And there is this whole theory that I love, by the way, about how some of the Pokemon, this alternator art is crazy, about how some of the Pokemon in their evolutions really have like a vestigial mix of the trade for the other Pokemon. For example, there's this theory that Graveler, if you like Graveler and Machoke have, like, the original idea was that was the trade that you had to do, although it was very specific, and the basis for that is purely visual. Ooh, wow, Deerling, let's go. So let me just move quickly here just for you to see something. So Iron Thorns, Electric, Dark Energy, code for you, but like, look at this bad boy right here. Look at this. Look at the beauty of this. I think they fit with each other. Yeah, they do. Look at this. Look at this piece of art. Like, this is literally Bambi and his dad. Crazy. And yes, I double check. Bambi is a boy. So, which you will know if you see the movie at the end, but some people have doubts. So Bambi and his dad. Look at this art. Beautiful. Just beautiful. At all levels, just beautiful. And colorful. Which is something that sometimes with all the edginess in Pokemon, we forget about that. But I like colorful stuff. Even more in cardboard, right? So, but overall, I think that anytime you introduce like the metal code evolutions, something like that, that's cool. I like the lore behind it. I don't know, like, I like the mechanics around it. It's interesting, but I don't know the lore. Like, okay, why, if you have an Onix and you put metal code on it, you need to, well, you have to exchange it. You have to level it up, which makes sense. Now, Grottle, which, by the way, cool. I love this Pokemon. Every turtle Pokemon is amazing, but Gauging Fire EX, which is basically Ancient Entei, which is crazy. So there is an Ancient Entei, an Ancient Raikou, and I guess there is an Ancient Suicune that we haven't pulled yet. But like, look at this bad boy. Like, cray. Love it. It's a shame that I can't see the full Pokemon, as is a tradition with the EX, but looks badass nonetheless. At least you can see some Pokemon. Like, with others, you can just see the head, which is like, what's the point? So, to be clear, when it comes to trading Pokemon, the example that I was saying. So basically, the idea is that if you, the rumor is that if you traded, it was supposed to be Graveler for Machoke, so that your Graveler and your Machoke, when they trade, their DNA or whatever gets mixed, and that's why they evolve that way, which is not really the case, because you can just trade it. Like a pink Pokemon card. Let's go. Ace Pack. Look at this. Look at that texture. Look at everything. It's like a party right here. Look at that. Look at the, like, there you go. That's the right angle. Let's see, like, look at that. Neo Upper Energy. As long as this card is, and ooh, look at the texture. Ooh, brother. Ooh. Like, so I guess if you have ooh, brother, ooh, you should have like ooh, sister, ooh, or something. I don't know. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides normal, like, any energy or colorless energy. So colorless energy, normal energy. If this card is attached to a stage 2 Pokemon, this card provides every type of energy, but provides only 2 energy at a time. So whoosh, crazy and beautiful. I mean, scared to put it with the other energies, because the energies are always like together. I will sleeve them all, by the way, in case you get nervous, but I do it at the end of the video so that you don't take, like, the video is not 2 hours long, because the cards are just like pretty quiet there. So we're almost there. So the idea is that, yeah, so you mix Graveler with Machoke, so Machoke gets 4 arms like Graveler, and Graveler gets a head that is very similar to Machoke's. And you may be listening to this video and thinking, what is this guy saying? And it's like, no, like it's a thing. Go check it. Even if you don't find the theory itself, because it's like a theory or like a rumor or something, even if you don't find the theory itself, just look it up. Look, Machoke, Graveler, Golem, Machamp. Just look at the images of the Pokemon. It is a fact that the face of Golem kind of looks like the face of Machamp, of Machoke, sorry. And Machamp has 4 arms like Graveler. So that's the rumor, that it was supposed to be that trait specifically, and that's why it gets exchanged. Now, I don't remember what was the justification for Alakazam. Maybe none. Maybe they just gave up. I remember the justification was like, oh, for Alakazam is Haunter, and that's so you exchange Haunter with Kadabra, and Haunter gets the of Kadabra, and it becomes Gengar. I guess it gets the legs from Kadabra. I don't know, and gets fat for some reason, and it gets a sense of humor. Although Haunter is already pretty crazy by itself, so like it gets the legs from Kadabra, and I guess that Kadabra gets the spikes from Haunter or something. So this theory works pretty well for Machamp and Golem, but it doesn't work that much. Unless I'm missing something, it doesn't work that much for the other pair. And the theory therefore suggests that it's like, no, well, it was only that trade, and then they did the other trade, and they were like, whatever, it's just trade for trade. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not even trade for trade. You just need to trade them. It doesn't need to be a trade for another Pokemon that evolves. So, it's just one of those theories. A game theory. No, but in all seriousness, because video games are a serious matter. Technically, yeah, that's the justification. It's similar to the whole conspiracy theory about Venomoth, Butterfree, and Metapod, and Venonat. So Venonat evolves into Venomoth, but they kind of don't look really like the other. Like, they look a little bit because of the color. But Venomoth looks a lot like Metapod, and there is a logic there. Caterpie kind of looks like that, and it matches. So the original theory is that, well, Metapod, which it's not disproven because no one knows. By the way, Ponyta and Rapidash, same reverse foil in the same booster. Can make that up. And a Koraidon, so great booster for the fire types. Let's go. Metal Energy and a code for you. So the theory is Venonat, which looks a lot like a Butterfree, evolves into Butterfree. And the theory says that for some reason they got mixed the codes, and like one evolves into the other or something. And I don't think this was ever Raichu just chilling a lot. I don't think this was ever proven or disproven, to be fair. So, it's one of those theories. A game, but like, not really a thing. But the more you look at their designs, the more you go like, okay. And you can believe in it. It kind of makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, but Explorer's Guidance, cool. To be fair, like the trainer cards, most of them, I'm not that crazy about them. It's like, they're cool, but like visually, it's like, They don't represent what I like in the full art Pokemon cards, which is Pokemon just chilling and doing weird stuff. Code for you. So that makes sense visually. I don't think anyone has even disproven it, or maybe Did You Know Gaming did, because those guys know everything. But I will need to check my sources, but that's the theory at least, right? So it doesn't mean that that's the truth, but that's the theory. So that theory also has a counterpart, because everything comes in pairs. And the pair is Gyarados and Croconaw. Let's go. We have everything, boys. Croconaw was very difficult to pull. Licky. And the idea here is that Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, as you know, or Gyarados. And Dratini evolves into Dragonair, that evolves into Dragonite. And yes, there is a fairly weird evolution tree. Ooh, Torakat, let's go. Between Dragonair and Dragon Knight, because they don't really look like each other in terms of colors or design, which is, it is what it is. But and Magikarp and Gyarados, they don't either look as each other. Now the theory says that the original change here was like blue, 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 orange, orange, orange. So since Dragonite has the same, or well, very similar, like whiskers or whatever, to the antenna on Dragonite or something, I don't remember the actual theory, but the idea was that Magikarp evolves into Dragonite, which, and Dragonair evolves into Gyarados because blue, 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 blue. But this is where, and as it happens with the other theory, it falls down by its own weight, which is, it doesn't make sense. Gyarados is based on a folklore legend of a carp that goes against the waterfall and comes out on the other side as a majestic dragon. A majestic dragon, a very fiery dragon, in the case of Dragonair, of Gyarados. So it works on a lore level. That's why the theory doesn't hold. Like, people are just forcing it. Ooh, Iron Leaves EX. People are just forcing it. We've got Finisane in the same booster twice. Like, what? Like, look at this. Cool, but I can't see the Pokemon, so it is what it is, but cool. Cool nonetheless. So that theory is just because, they are the same color. But even the design patterns are not as strong as in the Metapod Venonat thing, right? So I wouldn't put them together. But I can see why people assume that. But yeah, like, again, as a kid, it was always jarring to me, the evolution from Dragonair to Dragon Knight, because it's like, sorry, what? Like, there is not a clear line. Like, I mean, there is some sort of line because it's like an European dragon kind of thing, but Shift Trick always rocks. But it's not really, you know what I mean? It doesn't really match. Like, with Gyarados as a kid, I never was like, it doesn't match. Like, it kind of matches because of the whiskers and the lips and all that stuff. And, it's the irony, like the ironic justice of like, the Magikarp is, as a lot of people call it, like the most useless Pokemon ever, and then it evolves into the aggressive Gyarados. So like, that's the whole thing, right? Last booster, by the way. Time flies when you listen to a crazy man rambling about a video game and TV show and card game and. So let's see, let's call them out. Pikachu, Snom, nice art by the way. Scyther, so we can evolve that Scizor because we were missing a Scyther. Sleazypede, which, cool art. I like these cards that I just like isolated. Bolton, just giving its everything. I don't think we have the pre-evolution here. We don't have Jumper here. Modsdale, cool looking. Explorer's Guidance, again, but this time nothing cool. Ooh, a foil Mist Energy. So, and Breloom. Breloom is one of those. I kind of like Breloom, but at the same time, it's not as strong as it looks because it's kind of a Velociraptor, so it's kind of cool. And last but not least, a Iron Valiant from the Fiocha in foil. Not bad. Electric Energy and a code for you. And that, my friends, was the Scarlet&Violet Temporal Forces booster box. So how would you call our pulls? I think that we pulled pretty much everything that is in the box except my boy here, like Feral Suicune, which I don't know the name. Like, it's like Ancient Cold or something. I don't know the names of the future and past Pokemon, but it's basically Feral Suicune, or Dinosaur Suicune. So it's pretty cool. Let me know what you think about the pulls. We did get a bunch of dragons, which are basically Koraidon and Miraidon, and a Raging Bolt, which, pretty cool. So I kind of guessed that one with the playmat, but the others, up to your criteria. I know what my favorite card is of this pull. Try to guess it. I think it's pretty clear after all I said about the card in this video. But let me know your favorite, and I hope you had a great time. You had a lot of codes to use. Try to save some for the others. Don't use them all yourself. And I will see you next time on the channel that you like and subscribe, which is Packs and Recreation. Bye.